email marketing best practices that earn revenue. Isn't that what we all want? That is something that I believe we all deserve, including you. And this is where you look at the bigger picture and ask yourself, as a business owner, how do you use email to communicate with people? How do you build email marketing campaigns that drive revenue? And also, what type of emails drive that type of revenue? I'll just say this quickly. When you think about revenue with traffic and with businesses and with email marketing, one thing that you shouldn't ignore at all is using segmented emails. That is one great way as a business owner you can use email marketing as a best practice to get the best result for your business. Knowing that every single day when you're creating content, you're building it for people and you're also building it for yourself. Why are you building it for people and yourself? It's because you want to create communication patterns and also communication skills that will allow people to connect with you every day or every week or every month within the 25 to 52 weeks in a year, right? There are 52 weeks in a year in total, but when you think about the number of times you're sending an email once a week, some people use half of that time, some people use all the time. So how do you use the best of your time to create the best of the experience? So, email marketing best practices that can earn your business more revenue is heavily dependent on how you show up online by creating content. And anytime you send an email, you're sending them somewhere else, right? When you send an email to someone, the reason why you're sending an email is for them to go to a specific place or to make a specific action or to take a specific role. And that includes building connections with people that need that information long term. Welcome, Roy. And you're using this all in all to build connections long term as a business owner. So if you're sending out emails to build and also attract revenue, one of the major things to look out for and also to consider is to ask yourself, am I creating segments as I'm sending out these emails? Because when people say, I'm creating segments, you can't just create segments. Welcome, Alec. You have to make how do I say this even better? Welcome, Boss and Mike. When you're creating segments, you're creating segments that are going to be triggered by scheduled emails. In other words, when you send out a scheduled email and you tag that link to a specific destination, or you say, okay, everybody that clicks events in this email is going to send, I'll say, event buckets within a segment that you've created within your email CRM platform. Welcome, Sunny. So you create an experience that if you know that everyone's going to like events, let's say there's in-person events, there's virtual events, and those are the two options you have. And then somebody clicks in-person events, another person clicks virtual events. When you send that email out as a scheduled email, you've also turned on segmenting emails too in the process, because the segmented emails that you've created out of the first email you sent now has a list of people who are interested in either of those two. So if you sent an email to 100 people, welcome Hafez and Coach, Boss and Dia as well. If you sent an email to people and the people that receive this email, right, are, let's say 100 people. And out of this 100 people, 10 people have said in person, 20 people have said virtual, right? Let's just give a random number. Now you have 30 votes out of 100 people who have told you exactly what you're looking for. And let's say your in-person event is, you can put any figure, and let's say the virtual event is, a figure. Just whether it's free or it's paid, that's up to you. So when you now create an event and you're telling people that here's an in-person event to come to, the people who have received the in-person segment or segmented email will be more interested than the ones who said virtual. So if you have an in-person event and people know that they want to come for an in-person event, then that in-person event is going to have information, right? Let's say the one event you're talking about is both virtual and in person, right? Let's say you have a virtual expo and you have an in-person experience, and you send everybody to Eventbrite, right? And then they now pick whether they want in person or they want virtual. They can pay for their tickets, and they can register, and they're in. Now, before you send that email out to people, you've also thought about the segmentation process. Because if somebody says in person, then I would also think about doubling down on the strategy, right? Because we're talking about best practices here. So if you're thinking about a best practice, one best practice that you can also focus on while segmenting emails is by creating polls. Creating polls is one of the best things you can do, because polls will tell you exactly how people are feeling and what they're saying and what they need to say. Because it's not just about creating content, it's about understanding what kind of content they want to receive. So that changes everything entirely. So when you use segmented emails and you now start going deeper into that, so if you say in person and there are 4 locations, you say, okay, you want to go to Hawaii, you want to go to Miami, you want to go to LA, you want to go to Vegas. Those are 4 options people can choose from. So out of those 4 options, someone can say, okay, we want to go here or we want to go here. When you start getting those sample data feedback loops, that's a good indication and a good signal for you to start using it as a starting point, because revenue does not start at the end, it starts at the beginning. If you're going to earn revenue as a business, you must have built a system to create that revenue cash flow, or that MRR, right? That monthly recurring revenue. So if you're going to have email marketing as one of your, call it assets. Yeah, one of your assets. And that's a great way to build. It's very important to look at that. Boss says, I'm working. Okay, no worries. I saw you had your hand up, so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss that, because I wanted to bring you up if you had a question. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And Hussein, thank you for being here too. You're creating consistency in building, hey Dahlia, you're creating consistency in building connections with people on a deeper level, because you're using your email marketing as a tool to learn more about your audience, right? There's something called a click-through rate, and there's also something called a click rate. There are 2 different things. There's a click-through rate and there's a click rate. A click-through rate measures the amount of opens, right? And the click rate measures the amount of delivered emails. So there's opened emails, there's delivered emails, there's also clicked emails, right? So welcome, Dr. Sharon. It's been a while. When you look at your business, right, long term, and you start noticing that 3 people start opening your emails more than the rest of the 10, and you start noticing that they open more emails, they're more responsive, you put out a poll, they respond, you say something, they say something back, you talk about something, they respond back. That in itself is a loop. And most times, a lot of people don't think about this, but this is what I like to do. If you're building communities, you don't know everyone that's on your list, especially when you're sending it out to thousands of people. It's not everyone that you're going to know on your list, right? Because some people are signing up today, tomorrow, the next day, they've been there for 5 years, never said a word. And it happens. But the email that they're receiving is so valuable that they wouldn't unsubscribe ever, because they know how valuable that information is to them. So if you're going to build a business and also build a sustainable flow of email marketing that is going to be easy for you to build and communicate, we have to think about the types of email marketing that you're sending, right? Is it promotional emails? Is it informational emails or infomercials? Are they PSAs? Is it feedback emails? Is it privacy policy update emails? Is it product updates? Is it news updates? Is it general updates? Is it marketing updates? Is it a media update? They're very different. Oh, you said accident. Okay, no worries. Thank you. Either way, you're creating content for people that are receiving your emails. You want to know how best they're getting it. Because when you start opening, delivering, clicking, and replying, those are 4 loops that have to go through a sequence. It first got to be delivered, then opened, then clicked, and then replied. So if there's a distance between delivered and replied, then how do we close that gap at a faster loop, within a faster sequence, at a higher capacity, within a higher volume? Because when you start getting more and more emails, it's going to start creating more and more I'll call it deliverability optimization techniques. Because when you start sending high volumes of emails, especially if you've never sent a high volume email within your domain, most times you'll be told to send less of those emails because you don't want to overwhelm your domain. You don't want to overwhelm what's going on the back end, especially when you look at your domains from a signal strength standpoint, right? There's something called domain authority. There's something called domain signal. So if you've never sent an email to 20,000 people and you just uploaded a 20,000 contact list to your email list, it's not going to fly. You may think that could work, but it's not even going to get delivered because they've never received your email before. So you're pretty much trying to get into new territory. And in that way, they have to also recognize that your message is clear and it's for them. So there are things that you have to look at and ask yourself when they're receiving emails. Is your email credible? Is your email authenticated? Is your email secure? And that's coming from your domain because you're sending an email from a domain name server. That's a DNS. The same way we have a DNA in our body is the same way email is DNS, domain is DNS, website is DNS. Because that's how you're going to talk about the information that's within that, right? Within your DNA, there are different components, right? So within the DNS, there are different components. And one of the components for email marketing that is very important, welcome Rico and Vladimir, is this is very key. This is very, very key. I just want to make sure that you guys know this. One important factor to consider when you're thinking about your email marketing and your DNS records is your MX records, which is your mail exchange records. Mail exchange records. And the mail exchange is from Outlook Mail. It could be from Google Mail. It could be from Yahoo Mail, AOL. It could be from Apple Mail, but it's going to come from some mailbox. And that mailbox has an address, and that address has a mail exchange record in it. So when that mail exchange record is not transmitting, in other words, it's not receiving or sending signals, then that's where you notice there's going to be a friction between the two, right? When you get emails and when you start receiving emails, you think about your business. If you get a ticket, if you buy a flight ticket today, or you book a reservation for a hotel, or you want to buy something and you get it off of Amazon, or you buy it on someone's website, you're going to get a confirmation email that thank you for purchasing this item. Here's your confirmation email. Here's your confirmation number. And then you're going to star that email, right? When you think about resetting passwords, approving logins, passwords now that have turned into passphrases and passkeys, right? It's no longer what's your password, it's what's the passkey. It's become encrypted in a more sophisticated way to save you the stress of going through security when you could have secured that initially, whether through two-factor authentication or whether through multi-step verification. However you're going to do it, there's going to be a way that will still come back into your business when you start looking at your domain from a server level. So when you start serving people with information, a really great best practice that will earn revenue for you is if you look at revenue in the middle and then you put content on one side and you put communication on the other side. Think about like a seesaw, right? If there's a seesaw, there's going to be something in the middle that's going to balance the two. So if one of the two sides are building within each other, that means I know that I'm going to have content that I can produce, which could also be a great added value to my email. I don't think you'd ever want to send an email to anyone without telling them to click on a link in reference to where you're sending them to from the subject line. So if you tell them new policy or new product or new article or new podcast, You already preconditioned them to know that what they're about to click into is a new show or something that's going to let them know about what you're talking about, which is of interest to them. And that's why they're within your email list. So if you're earning revenue within your email list, you're earning revenue because you're building relationships. I'll say that again. You're earning revenue because you're building relationships. The more relationships you can build within your email, the faster your revenue and access would be. Because if you start sending people content, here's my podcast, here's my podcast, here's my podcast, here's my podcast, one day they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, I've heard about your podcast, so I listened to this. Or if you have an article or if you post content, it's going to be a big win for you. Why is it going to be a big win for you? Because you have earned the trust over time with an email address that is connected to yours. Not directly, but indirectly. Because when you receive an email, you're receiving an email because you subscribe to it. If you unsubscribe to that email, it's because you no longer want to receive emails from that platform or from that receiver or from that sender. However you want to put it. Am I going to manage preferences and get less? Or am I going to ultimately just take out the whole thing and I don't want to be in the system anymore? That's up to you, right? So when you're starting to get emails and you start noticing that your growth subscriber count is going up, that's a good way to know. And it also highly depends on your email marketing platform of choice. That's also going to play a big role in your earning revenue capacity. There are so many platforms out there you can use. I've always talked about Flowdesk without the W, and I've always talked about Flowdesk. And I'll very soon talk about Flowdesk SEO or just Flowdesk marketing or Flowdesk email marketing, because I've been using Flowdesk since 2019, 2020, and this is 2026. And why I love Flowdesk and why I always say Flowdesk to me is the best out there when it comes to efficiency. And other people could, give their own platforms. You're welcome to. It's not a race. It's not a competition. It's exchange of value. So if it's valuable to you, if it's sentimental to you, great. That's perfect. Why it's sentimental to me and why I've seen other people also go through it and they don't leave after they discover it is because, one, it saves them money. That's the first thing. It saves them money. For me, before even the price, I look at the technical setup. Welcome, Andine. And when I look at the technical setup for me is that Amazon SES is what they integrated into Flowdesk. Amazon SES stands for Amazon Simple Email Service. So because Flowdesk has incorporated Amazon's system operation when it comes to speed, when it comes to domain relevance, when it comes to technical setup, when it comes to ethics, when it comes to compliance, these are things that you think about when it comes to also capacity and bandwidth. So it was a no-brainer. And I said, okay, yeah, that's something I'll definitely do and I'll sign up. And ever since then, it's been working. And since then, I can say at least 100 clients that we've worked with have been able to sign up their own accounts and they have their own Flowdesk emails and they're doing well. There's one client, he was paying about $200 a month because he has over 50,000 contacts on constant contact, because the more you grow, the more you pay, like MailChimp and all the others. So I'm like, okay, we need to cut this overhead cost down, at least by 20-30% if we can. And eventually I said, hey, here's an option you can choose. And we moved him over and they do massage and therapy. So imagine all the people that have come to them with the POS system and so many contacts. And you're like, how do you, sustain this? Because you keep paying for a platform you keep using, which is important, but you keep spending it when you could have saved more and put that into advertising or into other things that would give you a higher value exchange or a higher, I can call it a total net worth of your assets and your acquisitions within your business setup. So from him paying about $200 a month, he ended up paying $200 a year. And he still was able to send and still is able to send a lot of emails and he does gift cards, he does all kinds of things, and they even use MindBody, the app, which is a great platform as well for email. So they're using those two for in-store, in-person, and also online activities. So when they go to your website and you sign up to someone's website because you're looking for lymphatic massage, or you're looking for how to, just get a deep tissue massage. People search for all kinds of things, right? You're welcome, Andine. People search for all kinds of things. So when they find your content and then they find your website organically and then they sign up to your email list, isn't that better than you spending $3, $5, even 2 cents of your money that you could have saved when you could have used 2 cents of your knowledge and given them information in form of organic value? Put it in their system. They're going to search on ChatGPT, on Perplexity, on Google, wherever they search from, and they find you there and they connect to you even better. So when you now run ads to the same city that you're advertising in, or the same business area that you're connecting with, then you're spending less money because you've retargeted and you're not targeting. There's a difference between targeting or target market and retarget market. Retarget means that you have been there first, or you've been there before. So it's not like it's new. Even on Pinterest, when we work with clients and do ads on Pinterest, it's very interesting to see that you get more money when you spend less, because you spend more time filling them over time. And usually the sweet spot for Pinterest is 4 months. So once you hit that 4th mark, boom. That happened with a client. I talked about this yesterday. Just not too long ago, we've been doing SEO for them, and this is the 4th month in. They have locations in about 5 locations in the US, and they hit about 14.4K in a day. But that happened after 4 months of, I can call it, repetition, page indexing, SEO, setup, writing blogs, filling up information, location pages, indexing, automatically connecting things, fixing problems, error messages, broken links. It's not just, we got to go here. Then we end up on Pinterest. We started looking at catalogs and products and schema and all these things. And it's not in a day. So all that work to say is worth it, because when that happens and more stuff like that keeps happening, it makes sense. If you now type in something dash whatever and they see you instead of the person that they used to see, they'll be like, who's this new kid on the block? Who's this new business on the block? And that makes it even more exciting, because now it's something new for them to see. If they've been going online consistently and then they've noticed that they've built that over time, then what you realize is that you start getting more and more connections with people, because they're loving to actually understand your business. They're getting to understand how you work. And even this client I just mentioned, it's through email marketing too. Because when you send out emails, you tell them, hey, sign up for your account, get this, get that, learn how to use this in your own home. Here are some steps that you can take on your own. You're giving people the power to choose. And that's email marketing. It's direct response marketing. Email marketing is direct response marketing, because if I say reply with the word this, you're going to get the word this. If I say that, you're going to get that. So the way you're going to construct and also create your business long-term is by thinking about how much you can earn revenue-wise by how many conversations and connections you build relationship-wise. If you're able to build more relationships within your segmented emails and your campaigns, and more people get to see you, more people get to work with you, more people get to learn from you, whether you're running an event, right? Whether you're running an ad, a campaign, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if they get that email and it's because you set up your house in order and you're able to put yourself in a position that allows you to get more results back, that's great. Because now you've been able to send emails. You've been able to connect with people. That one email you sent last week is still having an effect today, because not everyone that receives your email today is going to open your email today. And not everyone that you send an email to is going to see your email today either. Yes, you may have sent it today at 5 o'clock in the morning, but they're probably going to see it on Friday at 5 o'clock in the evening. So you can determine what they're going to do, but you can determine what you're going to experience or what you're going to create as an experience for them. So when you think about earning revenue, email marketing wise, one of the best practices, and I'll give you 3 that at least you can put into, because I've given you pretty much an overview. One way you can earn revenue by email marketing, one best practice is I'll start off with the top, by having a website. Having a website, not just a website that you just have a homepage and an about page, a website that is active, a website that is responsive, and a website that is, let me use the word helpful. Helpful. Because when you have a helpful website, people would want to come more and more and more. Welcome, Musa and Tommy. People will want to come more and more because when you help someone, then you can help them again. If they help you, they can help you again. And right now there's something called helpful content. That's what Google goes by, helpful content. And why is it helpful? Because there's something called EEAT. That's a code, that's an acronym for Google. And it just means experience, expertise, authority, and trust. That's just what it means. Welcome, Dr. Mad. That's just what it means. So when you have those things in place, then it's going to be helpful. If you check all those boxes, if the experience is good, what does that mean? If your website is loading fast, if your pages load fast, if your links are loading fast, if you have a fast response, whether it's desktop, mobile, tablet, that's a good experience, right? It's not just about what you're talking about. It's how you feel and how you're getting the response in that loop. Because people can spend 3 seconds with you and leave the next 5. So people have less than 10 seconds to make a decision, and you want to make sure that their decision is based on what you gave and delivered. Very important. So when you look at that, number one is to have a website. And when you have a website, use that website and build content around your website. Instead of going to social media and posting content, go to your website first and then share it on social media. That will save you a lot of time, money, and energy. 100%. Because if I write an article that's a 5-minute read, I put it on my website, it's published, and it's connected to Google Search Console, it's connected to Google Analytics or GA4, it's connected to Fathom Analytics if you want to use that, or Matomo Analytics if you want to use that. It's connected to Bing Webmaster Tools, it's connected to Microsoft Clarity, it's connected to these tools which are free of charge. Then that's at least the starting point, because what's really being spent if I'm looking at any currency, is your time. That's what's being spent. So if you have 24 hours in a day and you spend anywhere between an hour to 4 hours within the day to put it all together in between the day, because that's not the only thing you have to do in the day, or you spread it out within the week, at least you know that you've spent a good 1 to 4 hours to give someone quality content that they can use for long-term benefits. Now, when you do that consistently, you have a 5-minute read on your website. You can take one of those 5 points that you had and turn one of those points into a video or into a podcast. And now you have 5 different episodes that you can stretch across 5 weeks. And now within those 5 weeks, you're linking them to the same article that you discussed on the same topic. But it's different topics, it's different subtopics, it's different experiences. So the moment you start doing that consistently, you start realizing that you start getting more attention for the same keywords. Because if I say something once, okay, you said it. But if I say that 10 times, there's no way you wouldn't remember. You might even say it before I do the next time I'm about to say it, because you've heard it over and 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 over again. So it becomes something that you're like, okay, I've heard that before. That sounds familiar. So if you're thinking about sending emails and you keep saying the same thing to them, but you're not saying it in a way that's here 10% off, 20% off, 5% off, buy one, get one free. People at some point, they get numb to it. It's going to a point people are not even moved, because they're like, okay, that's another one. But what's going to move them, what's going to move your audience is discovery, it's storytelling, it's connection, it's building intention, it's creating that intention by setting it to begin with. Send polls, do surveys, do feedback loops, do quizzes, send them to your website, do giveaways, do challenges, send them to a free magnet, send them to a Loom video that you recorded, or a YouTube unlisted video or private video that you recorded for them. These are very specific things you can do. You can rewind this and listen to it again.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university, online, That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Because when you look at these types of styles that you can use for your business that will earn revenue, it will help your business long term, because you're not just using email marketing for sales purposes. Welcome, Jay. You're not just using it for sales purposes, you're also using your email marketing as a way of building the pathway to your domain's, I can call it visibility, whether it's through the search engines, whether it's through the AI, LLMs, it doesn't matter. It's going to take you to that next point. So using your website is great. Why? Why did I even start off with the website? Because your website is what's going to give you credibility. It's what's going to give you your branded identity. That's really where it stems from. Because when you send an email to someone, it's coming from your domain.com. So it's technically your website. So if your website is doing well because it has resources that people keep going to, and you have more pages that people can actually access because you're giving them an experience, then people will stay on your website because you have articles to read, you have podcasts published, you have ebooks, you have resources, you have tools, you have calculators, you have tables, you have links, you have all kinds of things that it's like a candy store now, because you've built an experience for them which favors both you, the producer, and them, the consumer. So when you're able to bridge that gap, it helps you a lot better because you're now using your domain. You've connected your SPF records, that's your sender policy framework details. You've done your DKIM, which is your domain keys identifier mail. You've done all these things that help you to secure yourself from any harm or any problem when it comes to phishing, PH, when it comes to creating these tools and creating these tactics that will help your business grow long term. So that's the first thing, your website. That's what's going to help you earn revenue, because that's where you're going to receive payments. That's where you're going to receive information, checkouts, forms. You can use other platforms that will help your business grow. But yes, your website is very important too, as well. You can do it for bookings. You can use third-party applications and embed it, or use iframes to put it into your system. Like some people use Calendly, right? I use Calendly too. If you click the link above and you sign up, you'll get information in the description, and you can choose which option you like, but you also get emails from me. Once you get redirected from here, you get redirected to Calendly. Now, some other people would do this too. If you have a website, which is also possible, you can get the copied embedded code or the iframe from the Calendly.com or any platform that you use, right? Whether it's even a YouTube video, it doesn't matter. There are embedded codes that you can use even for social media. You get that code and then you put it onto your website, and then you send traffic to that domain. Because there are three levels when it comes to websites. There's a website, there's a web page, and there's a web link. Now, between a link, a page, and a site, that's where the hierarchy comes in, because you want to make sure that all those three are correspondent and they're all working hand in hand together. So when you have that in place, now your website becomes a place that people can connect with you, book calls, get in contact with you. That's a good place to start. Write articles, submit your content to Google, and have a much better base. That's one thing to consider. Now, the second way that you can earn revenue, email marketing wise, is by creating segments. Segmentation is your best friend. Welcome, Fabian. Segmentation is your best friend. The way we know Google is your best friend, now ChatGPT is your best friend, email segmentation is your best friend. Email marketing segmentation is your best friend. Why? When you send emails to people and they're segmented based on interest, then you have a higher yield and a higher return on your investment by the time you start connecting people deeper. If you have a segment that says communities, another one says events, another one says requests for proposals, another one says podcasts, another one says books, and you have all kinds of things, then when it's time to make an offer or create an incentive or build awareness, you're not building it from scratch. You're building it from a pedestal, because you know that out of this 10,000 people on my list, 3% of them are interested in my books, 5% of them are interested in events, 10% of them are interested in podcasts. However you're going to slice or dice that. By the end of the day, you're going to look at that content and you'll know that, okay, if I'm going to put more information here, then let me be able to connect with these specific people and send them information that will help them take decisions faster. So instead of you sending an email to everyone about events, and you know that only a few of them are interested because you've segmented them over time, let's say you've sent 10 emails Or let's say you send 50 emails in 1 year. That means you've sent one email every week. And let's say you skipped Christmas and Thanksgiving week. Now you have 50 weeks in a year. You've sent 50 emails. Out of those 50 emails, in the last year, you've segmented each and every one of those scheduled emails. So you know that for every email that I sent, I've made 1 to 5 segments each. So by the time you send 50, you have a big amount of segments that you've created, which you can interpolate, interrelate. You can internalize them. You can do whatever you want to do. You can create an interconnection between them. You can build an intercommunication gap where you can actually bridge that gap by using 2 or 3 of the segments that you created out of the 5 in the week, or 25 in the week. And that way you're able to now say, okay, if I did once a week or once a day, and I'm getting 2 to 25 new segments within the same segments I've built, then how can I make deeper connections with those people? It's like when you have a friend or best friend or a family member or a spouse or someone that you're close to or someone that you do business with, the more you communicate with them, the more questions they respond to, it gets to a point where you even know their body language. If they move, you move. Like if they say something, you know what they're about to say next, or you don't even need to say anything because you already know what they're thinking. So when you start using that as a way to build that with your connections, it helps you. I sent an email to my community and I asked them last week, I said, hey, what would you like to know more about when it comes to your go-to search engine? What's your go-to search engine? And I was really surprised to see that a lot of people chose Cloud, a lot of people chose Perplexity, and a lot of people chose Google. Not many people chose ChatGPT, and I was like, interesting. And of course, those are not the only ones. There are way more than that. There are about 8 LLMs at least, at the very least. There could be more, but there are at least 8. So I know that everyone's going to have their favorite go-to. So I was like, let's see what we have here. I've done the same thing on LinkedIn, and I'm getting a whole different result. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is good data, because now I'm able to know that if this is what people are using, I can come back with more information about what they already use. If I tell you I like this and you like something else, and then we can't like the same thing together, we don't have mutual benefits. We don't have mutual likes. There's nothing that we mutually like. If you like coffee and I like tea, and we're trying to go to a tea shop or a coffee shop, it's going to have a different experience because we both like different things. But if we both like the same thing, then we can both experience something together, which is a mutual benefit. So right now, there are about 69 people who have voted on LinkedIn, and Google takes the cake. And then ChatGPT is next. Nobody said Perplexity. So it's about 59% Google, 28% ChatGPT, 4% Cloud, and 9% Gemini. And there are about 864 impressions, which means 864 people saw this and 69 people have voted. And it's still about 6 more days left before the poll closes. Last week, I was doing what's your go-to first drink in the morning? Water, juice, tea, coffee. And I was surprised. I saw a lot of responses. About 143 people, voted. So when I'm looking at these votes, when I'm looking at this data, when I'm looking at this information, it tells me a lot about what I should be talking about. Imagine if I keep coming back to you with information that you keep wanting to hear. At some point, you just feel like this person gets me. This person feels the same way I do. This person gets where I'm coming from. This person understands my pain point. This person understands what I need. This person understands if I need this now, and if I don't, how can I navigate through what I actually need to have right now? So it plays a big role into how you receive information long term. So email marketing is important when you segment your emails, because when you segment your emails and you start having a deeper connection with people, then your deeper connection with the same people that you build with will eventually create room for you. When you work with clients, when you work with businesses, when you work with corporations, when you work with influencers, when you work with investors, when you work with anyone, your colleague, your best friend, it could be anyone that you're in connection with, that's going to send a big impression. It's going to send something of a signal to them. So when you start sending out emails and you start segmenting emails, don't just think you're sending out an email. Think about the IP addresses you're sending to. Think about the compliance. Think about the deliverability rate. Think about how many times the people that you're sending to are going to open it. I've talked about the difference between a click rate and a click-through rate, right? Those are two different measures. When people deliver emails or send them and they get delivered and they get opened and they get clicked, that's a big deal because now people can see what they're looking at. And if that information is good, it's great. If you get a typo, if you send a typo, it's a missed opportunity because now if you sent a typo, welcome Maureen, and this typo has affected you because somebody has unsubscribed because they figured that you didn't check your grammatical error check, you didn't go through any type of proofreading, that's going to send the wrong signal to you. And you don't want that. So this is a preventive measure, not even a best practice. This is just important generally. So when you think about these things, segmenting your emails will be a very good way of building capacity. Now, of course, there are very many best practices, and I don't want to overwhelm you with so many. I want to just give you 3. So I've talked about the first one. I've talked about the second one. The first one was a website. The second one is segmentation. And the third one, this is so important, which is the most underrated of them all. Most underrated of them all. And this is it. Clearing out your bounced emails. Clearing out your bounced emails is so important. Welcome, Karina, because when you clean out your emails, you have a higher deliverability rate, you have a higher capacity to build, you also have a higher, I can call it a higher performance chart. Because if you send emails to people who keep receiving your emails and it keeps bouncing, at some point, your analytics is also going to get skewed. And you don't want to use skewed data to track or forecast something that you could have gotten a sharper response on it, like a pencil, right? If we can both use the same pencil, but if my pencil is sharpened and your pencil is not sharpened, we're using the same pencil, but on paper, we're going to look different. It will look like 2 different pencils that were used. So why I'm giving you that analogy is that when you look at your emails, the more you're able to delete the emails that are not being delivered, because we start off with delivered. It has to be delivered. If the message was not received, the message was not delivered. Simple. Because when you have a message that is delivered, then you have been able to see that I have mail or you got mail, and you're able to open the mail and see what's in the mail. If you need to take action on the mail, then that's what you're going to do. So when you're receiving these types of information, think about when you're sending out emails to people. You have 100 people in your contacts, and out of those 100 people, 10 of them bounced. Don't send another email with the same 10 people that bounced the last time, because that's going to hurt your bounce the next time. So you take out those 10 people, because if you have a platform like Flowdesk, for example, and I know other platforms do this too, not all, but if you send out an email today and then tomorrow you send it after 24 hours, the same email and the same emails that you sent to bounced twice. That means you're giving it a 24-hour loop cycle and they bounced twice, then that should tell you that they shouldn't be on your email for the next one. Why? When you have a bounced email, it skews your data. So the best way to avoid that is every time you send an email, which is what I do, like even before I send an email, for every one email that I send, I check it at least twice, if not more than 5, which could happen too. So I make sure that I check it, everything is going well, it's good before you send it out. Because once you send that once, it's gone. So I can send it to myself 10 times and not send it once, I'm safe. But if I send it once and I never checked it at least once, then whatever happens, happens. And then you have to send another email and say, oh, sorry, there was a typo, or sorry, here's the right link, or sorry. You don't want to hear that. That's unprofessional. That you don't want to do that ever. So the best way to avoid this is by testing. So the best thing to do is before you send an email, test it. And by the time you're done, I'll say you're done sending out the email, check out at least within the first hour. right? Within the first hour of you've sent the email out, check your analytics and then see where it got bounced. Did it bounce? If it bounced, was there an unsubscribe? Was there someone that marked it as spam? You want to see those things, right? And once you see them, delete them off of your page, delete them off of your email list. Because when you send the next email after 24 hours, after you've seen that the people who have bounced the email are no longer receiving it, then that's a signal for you to do it again. But if you want to, by all means, keep them there and try one more time, great. But your emails, your second email should not be sent before you've cleaned up the first email. Welcome, Jonathan. So that is very important to think about and consider. So don't just think about your emails and think, oh yeah, I just got to send out an email today. Before you send out an email, ask yourself or ask your team or ask whoever's working that as well. Welcome out, Bill. Have you checked your emails? Have you scanned them? Have you processed them? Have you segmented them? Have you cleaned them? Just like you take out the trash every week. You're not going to keep the same trash for the next week and then pile that over and keep sending or still put stuff inside. It doesn't make any sense. So when you do the same thing with your email, you're taking out the trash, which is you're taking out emails that are being bounced. There are emails that have been bounced. There's a hard bounce and there's a soft bounce, right? When you have hard bounces and soft bounces and you're being told that this is bouncing, you don't want to keep that there, because the more it keeps bouncing, the less I can call it the less sharpened your data becomes. So you want to have a more sharpened and more accurate response, then focus on cleaning out your email list. That's a good way to do it. So number 1, focus on your website. Number 2, focus on segmentation. Number 3, focus on cleaning up your email list, the bounced email list, the unsubscribed email list. So when you now create room for more, it's a cleaner way. And then I'll give you all a bonus. Check your analytics. This is one thing will help you tremendously. And you can date it back to 24 months, date it back to 7 weeks, date it back to 7 days, however you want to take it back and forth. But look at your data and see what time of the day did people open my email. Because I could have sent it at 5 a.m. and you could have opened it at 5 p.m. And majority of the people who open it at 5 p.m. are 80%. So that tells me, why am I sending it at 5 a.m. when I could send it at 5 p.m. the next time? So when you send it at 5 p.m. the next time, they're already in their inbox. Inbox. It's like a boxing ring. Like inbox and boxing is the same, but it's kind of like the same bracket if you kind of flip it together. I'm really serious about this. So if you look at the whole idea of an inbox and what people are using their time within that ring, within that time they're spending to do whatever they got to do, send an email, reply an email, click an email, open an email, delete an email, unsubscribe to an email, they're going to spend time within that space. And how you're going to become valuable is when your website becomes the anchor. That's why I started off with your website, because you can send someone to a link and they can find another link on your website that they'll be more interested in that you didn't send them in the email. And then they'll ask you, hey, I see you do this. Well, how about this? Tell me more about this. Do you do this? Okay, let's talk about it. Like for us, we do website services. We manage, we maintain, we scale, we audit, we build, we create. We make sure that you are looking good, you're feeling good, and you're sharpened online. Because when you have these things happening for you, whether it's from a podcast standpoint, from a website standpoint, from a social media standpoint, from a digital marketing standpoint, email is going to be some of those things you're going to have to deal with and also look into. Because when you start building emails and those emails start turning into data, that's where your asset becomes valuable over time. So I hope this helps you and gives you some insights on how you can reduce the stress of trying to figure out what to do with your emails and focusing on your domain setup. Use flowdesk.com. That's a website you can use too. You can go to other websites and connect with them for your emails. But majorly, the goal is, if there's anything that you want to do, and don't forget doing this, is to create your domain and build capacity. The only way you can build capacity is by creating capacity. And you have to create capacity by creating published links, create content, create information, use information that's already out there. There's nothing new under the sun. So it's for you to decide, how do you want to take that information and run with it? How do you want to have a high performance mark? If you want to have high performance visibility for your business, then you have to think about the high performing platforms that are being used actively. We've talked about Google versus ChatGPT SEO, Google SEO versus ChatGPT SEO. I talked about that on the We Don't Play podcast show. I've talked about Microsoft SEO versus Perplexity SEO. I've also mentioned to you before, and I'll say it again for those who were not able to hear it the last time, that Google is coming up with something called Disco. It's going to be called Google Disco. So it's coming soon. Things are changing. So when you start sending out emails and you start letting people know, hey, this is coming out, this is happening, they'll be like, wow, I didn't ask for this, but thank you. Now you've increased the value proposition by a margin because you've given more than you've taken. You've gotten more feedback from more people. Welcome, Sunny, because you've given more than what you were able to just say in one sentence or one episode. Now you've given them more information that they can chew on and they can digest, because it feels like after they read this, it helps them. Now I know what people are looking for AI wise. So if I talk about how to show up on Google more because of Google SEO, then I know there's a lot of people that want to know about how to show up on Google. Yes, AI is important, but if you show up on Google first, then you won't have to worry about ChatGPT and the rest, because we're not trying to rank, we're trying to impact. Not even trying to, we are going to. We are doing that. You're doing that too, I'm doing that too, we're doing that too. But it takes you and I to make that important decision of deciding, are we going to write content on our website first and then take that to social media, or are we going to do the reverse and do social media first and come to our website after? So let it make sense, because when you look at social media, especially like with Instagram, for example, the lifespan of an Instagram post is 19 hours to 72 hours if you give it a leg up. Compared to Pinterest, which is a search engine, you get 3.5 months up to 5 months at the very least of the same content that you published. So it's like putting your money inside an index fund, and you know that one of them is going to be 0.19%, the other one is going to be 5%. You're going to choose the one that has a higher percentage rate, right? Because of that factor. Welcome, Lady Hustler. Thanks for being here. And also, good to see you as well, Heather. So these are very important factors to consider, right? When you have a website and you're building your website, build your website and have pages that you can send people to. Because when you send a person to your website, and that is coming from a domain to a domain, in other words, you're using your email domain or your domain workspace or your mailbox, your Google Workspace box, right, to send an email to a community, and then when they click on the link, it takes them to your website. So you've used your domain to send an email to your domain. It's a full circle loop. It's a full cycle. It's a 360. Because if you're sending someone an email, then it's coming from your mailbox. Now, if you're sending them to a website or a web page that's you own, which is your domain, whether it's an article you're sending them to, or a service list or a product list, wherever you're sending them to on your website, they're going to click on that link and it will land them on the website. So the goal is to maintain the relationship and build the relationship between your website and your email. And the only way that your email list is going to benefit and you're going to also earn revenue over time is by strengthening the relationship between your domain, which is your website, and your search engines that you're also connecting to, right? Why am I saying search engines too as an extension? Because no one comes to your website first. People go to Google first. They go to ChatGPT first. They go to Perplexity first. They go to YouTube first. They go to TikTok first. They go somewhere first before they come to you. So if they find you in their process and you're step 2, step 3, because they use step 1 and you're on step 1, which means you're on Google, you're on Microsoft, you're on Alexa, you're on Siri, you're there, then you won't have to worry about how they'll find you, because whatever they're going to use to find you will find you in the process, because you put yourself there within the position. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's a playlist, whether it's a book, whether it's a page, those things can be found, but you also have to think about how do you create that for your business. We're working with a client right now and we're doing something called ASO, which is App Store Optimization. So all the apps that you see, the Google Play App Store or the App Store itself, we also optimize for that too. So we're working with a company and they have a specific app that's focused on a specific industry. So after doing an audit and understanding exactly what the industry is, doing a geographical map layout, and we know that people within this area are looking for this, then it helps. So not doing it once, not doing it twice. This is probably, I think, the fourth or fifth app that we've optimized. So I know that the App Store has a specific code. If you want to end up on the App Store, there's a way that it's done. So it's not just, oh, we got to paste this keyword here or link this or link that. There's a tactical strategy attached to it. And once you're able to bite that down or mine that down, then it's easy for you to understand it and build capacity over it. So email marketing is not hard. You just need to read your analytics. Welcome to Black Jew. Read your analytics. Read your analytics. That is going to save you time, money, and stress. Read your analytics. Because if you know that people are opening your emails at a specific time of the day, and usually it's within a 6-hour block, right? So it could be 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., and then it could be 10 a.m., then down to another 4 p.m. So if you start looking at it from those perspectives, you realize that we have 24 hours in a day. But if you split that into 6, I can call it 6 hours each. Now you have 4 segments. That's 6 times 4. So if you know you have 4 quarters in the day out of 24 hours, how are you going to connect to people when they're going to find you the most? Some people open their emails when they wake up, when they're having coffee, when they're taking breakfast, when they're having a time with the family, or they're trying to drive somewhere and they check their email before they got to go. They're going to use their email. Or when they're back from the gym, when they're coming back and they want to have some downtime, or they have an hour to check their emails and that's the only time they have available. Imagine if you knew, this is how disastrous this could sound. Imagine if you knew that your audience opens their emails, let's say at 6 p.m., and you send an email to them at 2 a.m. or 6 a.m., and you knew that they open it at 6 p.m. because you can see it on your analytics. Isn't that a disservice to yourself and to the person that's going to read it? Because now you've sent it at a time that is inconveniencing to them, knowing that you've had them on your email list for 30, 60, 90, 365 days, 24 months and counting, that you haven't been able to do that. That's a missed opportunity. So why am I saying this? When you read your analytics and you know that people are opening your emails at a certain time, you rather send the email before the peak time or during the peak time. If you send it after the peak time, then you got to wait for another 24 hours. That's why platforms like Flowdesk are great for platforms where you are focusing on 24-hour cycles. So if I know I send it at 5 a.m. and I should have sent it at 5 p.m., then my next resend after 24 hours for the people who didn't open it at 5 a.m. can open it at 5 p.m. That's going to increase your average click-through rate, your average click rate, your average open rate, and ultimately your average branding portfolio across the web. Because when people receive your emails and they click submit, or they click here or they click there, that's giving you signals on the back end. Because if those things are not working, then at some point they have to be built in that process to make it work for them. So think about your email marketing today and tomorrow, but start off with those things: your website, your segmentation. Look into those details, check the bounces, clean up your list, and most importantly, check your analytics. Once you're able to do these things within those quadrants on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, you'll be fine. If some of you could do it on a daily basis, but do it consistently. Before you send the next email, check your last email so that you're able to know how things are going. So I hope this helps you and gives you some insight. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. If you don't, then I know that this has been understood and all minds and hearts are clear. And I really appreciate you and each and every one of you for being here with me today, listening in and learning about email marketing best practices that earn revenue in 2026. So with that said, thank you, Maureen, Jonathan, thank you, Sunny, the Black Jew, thank you, Andine, for being here. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Today's Taco Tuesday. So if you like tacos, happy Taco Tuesday and enjoy each and every moment I spend here with you, listening in, connecting with you, because this is where I'm able to learn more about what you need. And I'll be coming with more information like this as well. So have a great one as well. And yes, Sunny, have a good one too. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. By the way, before I go, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, I'm going to be here talking about search engine marketing, SEO best practices. So just wanted to make sure. Yes, Sunny, I'm glad you came back. I'm going to say this. If you click on the link at the top, you'll see Marketing Club and you'll see the upcoming events. What I'm starting to do is I'm going to start putting events ahead of time, because some people have been asking me, hey, what time are you online? What time are you online? So I said, you know what? I'm going to create a schedule so that you can have it. So anytime you come to the app and you see the Marketing Club, you'll always know that I'm available at this time. So tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be here talking about search engine marketing, SEO best practices. You're welcome, Sunny. And I hope to see you all here bright and early in the morning. Have a blessed day and enjoy the rest of your evening. If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here, or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening, is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description, or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening. Have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you. Peace.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.